Welcome back to Studio F, where on Fast Time Willy B, we'll be reviewing Abigail. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell.
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Kory back. Kory, how we doing?
Doing good, buddy. Doing great.
Good. Good to hear. So, April's upon us. We're halfway through it.
Yep.
A month that I was really looking forward to.
Time out. Happy birthday, Will.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. A month I was really looking forward to. Not for my birthday, but this was the month I felt like movies were going to get better. I was excited for First Element of Monkey Man, Civil War, and then Abigail. This was one of my top 5 anticipated movies of the year.
Right.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah,
Abigail.
I'm excited. Big time.
Directed by...
Matt Bettinelli, Tyler Gillette. Matt Bettinelli, Oakland, and Tyler Gillette.
Yes, and kind of a loaded cast for newer names. I wouldn't say Catherine Newton's a superstar yet, but she's making a name for herself.
Yeah,
a lot of projects this year, in the last 2 years, I'd say. She's in it, Melissa Barrera, kind of becoming a scream queen.
Absolutely.
With a couple of screen movies under her belt. Now we get this.
Finding herself to become quite the final girl.
Yeah.
Lately.
Some names like Giancarlo Esposito, Kevin Durant, that, not the casual person will know, but...
Giancarlo's getting pretty... he might be A-list. Kevin Durant's probably like C-list, but I've been a big fan for a while.
Yeah, and then we got, what was her name? Sasha Wire.
Sasha Wire, yes, as Abigail.
Yeah. And we'll hop right into the good. We'll start with the acting. I thought the acting was really good, especially from Wire.
Yeah.
I thought... I always like to give praise when a child actor can act really well. This was one of my favorite performances from a child.
I was going to say this might be like top 5 child actor performances I've ever seen.
So she
killed it minute by minute.
Yeah, she plays our, main antagonist, Abigail, our title character. And, wow, she was insane.
Yes, absolutely.
Face acting... her cries, her, flip of a switch of emotion because she's this vampire that's, trying to deceive people. Then when they're, stop the act, she's like she flips the switch like that. So good. I thought she was fantastic. And a cast that I thought overall did really well, she was still the standout.
Yeah, as far as the creepy child thing, which has been done 1,000 times in film, this is easily probably... maybe my favorite performance in terms of that kind of acting.
Yeah.
In such a way that it blew me away. I sat in the seat so many times thinking, how do you get this kind of performance out of a child?
Yeah.
How do you get them to emote like that? And some of it, honestly, I guess this isn't proven in any way, but it seemed very improv kind of in her performance. And I'm just I don't know how Bettinelli and Tyler got it out of her, but good God, what a performance.
Yeah, it starts with her, at ballet practice, and we get her dancing, and then a phone call with her dad, and from the moment she's kidnapped to the end of this movie, she shines.
Absolutely.
But overall cast, like we said, Melissa Barrera making a name for herself. I saw a few reviews that were all I needed was Melissa Barrera covered in blood.
Yeah.
When are we going to get Melissa Barrera, Samara Weaving, and Catherine Newton all in a movie together? That type of stuff.
I could see that.
But yeah, Barrera was great again. Makes you even more sad about what's going on with Scream 7.
Makes you very sad.
But Melissa Barrera, Angus Cloud, this one released after Death. He played.
Yes.
You made a good point. He played the Pete Davidson.
It's just that's all it screamed, and not even in a bad way.
No.
He did it. I think he did it a lot better than Pete Davidson in a way, because Pete Davidson he's he basically has a category of his own. And that's how I was able to kind of nail Angus into that. But no, I think I prefer what he did. He has such such a smooth nature to him. I don't know how to explain it. But he's kind of a smooth guy.
For sure. Catherine Newton, I've been a fan of for her last few movies. I know she didn't hit all of the marks for you in some of her prior movies.
Yeah.
But this one, we can agree, she did really well.
This is... this and the movie Blockers those two movies so far are kind of changing the tide for me. But I know like Lisa Frankenstein and like Ant-Man Quantumania, not a fan. But I'm slowly changing on her. I'm not trying to count her out.
You should check out
from the
Freaky
start,
for sure.
I know I need to. That's the thing everybody always tells
That's
me.
the one I
whenever
started
say,
with,
like,
and I think that's why it's like
it's.
I have a little more. I love Catherine Newton.
There was some personal bias there too. I was a big fan of the girl that got recasted to put Catherine Newton in as for Ant-Man 4. So I think that we started off on a very bad note. Yeah. But it's also not her fault. So that's also me being a dick. I know that.
Yeah, for sure. You can do that. No, I'm kidding. No, I really enjoyed Catherine Newton though. And then I guess another standout for me would be Mr. Durand.
I love Kevin Durand.
He was basically there was a lot of comedic relief throughout this movie. It almost felt more like a horror comedy.
I would say it is a horror comedy.
But he was the main bulk of the comic relief, and everything he said made me, you, and Brennan all laugh.
It's so easy to do the big strong guy is a dummy thing, and for it to fall flat. Every scene was amazing, so funny.
I think it was just Durand's delivery.
It was just refreshing, to see an actual funny performance from that kind of. Because I was tired of the big dumb guy trope. Yeah. I've been sick of it for a long time.
Drax was a really good one, and then since Drax, everybody's trying to do it.
But this is, I mean, they've even done some not even just line deliveries and things like that. There's some physical comedy in here too. Like the part where Abigail is floating in midair and he dives from the stairs, dolphin dives, tackles her and lands right on top of her.
And he's holding her down.
Thing I have ever seen.
Dude, that was hilarious. Yes, Kevin Durand.
I lost it.
You're right. It wasn't just, speaking. His line delivery was fantastic. That helped with a lot of the comedy, but his just mannerisms, his face acting, his body acting, just great performance all around as the brute comic relief. Dum-dum.
Yeah, and that guy, shout out to him too, because I don't know how many things you've seen him in, but his he's one of those weight fluctuates kind of guys.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite performances from him is in a TV show called Swamp Thing. He's the main antagonist in that.
Yeah.
And he is itty bitty in that show.
Really?
It's insane.
That's crazy. Yeah, we after the movie, I was like, he kind of reminds me a mixture of Elon Musk and Matthew Lillard. And then you were like, apparently he's trying to get an Elon Musk biopic going where he gets to be Elon Musk. Yeah. I'm like, it would work, man.
It works.
But no, overall the cast was great. But I would say those were probably my two standouts, Wire and Durand.
For sure.
Barrera right there as well.
Agreed.
But overall, this was a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
Even if you don't love the story, you can have a fun time with this film. I ended up loving the story, but I thought, going into this film, one of the things I had heard from a content creator I like to watch that got early release to this, he said that it's a gore fest. And through the first act and a half, 2 acts, there's a little bit, but you're kind of wondering where's the score at? The third act, they used gallons. Bathtubs full of blood.
Yes, they did.
This is where we get Melissa Barrera covered in blood, which was awesome. But it was all done really well. The effects were done really well. I feel like most of it was practical.
I could definitely feel a lot of practicality. I can't really remember any CGI at all.
No.
Honestly.
So I thought they did a really good job with the effects. I thought the makeup, costume, and effects team all together did a fantastic job in this one. Again, a fun story. A shout out to the writing team. I think this was written very well. Because I personally, again, like the story, but it also allows you to have a fun time. There's moments that keep you on the edge of your seat. There's some tension.
Sure.
So it does a good mix of that horror comedy balance. And it's just a fun ride for an hour and 45.
It's so much fun. It's a if you're kind of in that I've been watching a lot of movies and this is still it's a refreshing movie to watch, because every now and then you watch a movie, you're like, oh yeah, movies are good, you know. Because sometimes you watch a couple bad ones in a row, you're like, ugh, I got to take a break and do something else.
Yeah.
This is an absolute. This is a highlight. This might end up being one of, or if not the best horror movie by the end of the year.
Yeah, it'll be up there. I mean, you still need to see Late Devil, but I was telling you after the theater, those two movies are kind of on the same level for me.
Horror's really on an uprise right now, and it's
I won't say completely, because we did have movies like Imaginary, Sting.
There's still missteps, for sure.
But
on the whole, I feel like there was a solid 10 years where there was, like, 2 good, like, popular horror movies.
Yeah.
You know?
But, no, Abigail, I think, was not a risk, really, because it was loosely based on, which you get this vibe from the movie, too, 1936 Dracula's Daughter.
Yeah.
Loosely based on that. That's what really intrigued me, because I'm a big Universal Monster fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I want to check this one out already. You know, the trailers start coming out. I'm like, okay, I'm really intrigued. And like I said, it's not shot for shot or like even like technically based on. It's loosely based on.
Yeah, sure.
But you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said that they kind of feel like it gives them Black Swan vibes. So I watched Black Swan before this movie, and I was like,
Don't see it.
outside of the ballerina aspect, no. But I really liked the ballerina aspect.
So did I.
Like,
It made for some interesting action sequences, too.
At first, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel like. I was like, is it going to be like, the Megan dance scene?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
But I was a fan of the ballerina scenes.
So was I. Like I said, it gave an interesting addition to the action sequences and things like that. And also, I think it makes for a good, like, Dracula's daughter outfit look.
Yeah.
Like the ballerina covered in blood.
Oh,
that's
and
cool. That's
the
cool.
movie cover, too. The poster.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Absolutely.
No, I liked the ballerina aspects. I loved the choreography, both dancing and action. I thought it was all good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, it also helped carry the score and soundtrack on, too, I think.
Yeah,
It felt like whenever, we're kind of at a lull, I would just bust out a ballerina set that fit, and it'd be the, like the, dun 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 dun.
Oh, I love that scene where she's up there dancing by herself, and they're like trying to plan, like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna?
Yeah.
And she's just up there, just
Covered in blood.
just having a time, just
Yeah.
having a ball up there.
And then the scene where she possesses, like, Catherine Newton, too, was pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what? That was another thing. Catherine Newton did pretty well at that kind of acting.
Yeah.
Whenever she became a vampire herself, which, like, obviously you kind of see coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was she did good. That was great. I loved it.
Yo, dude, I loved it too. The third act, we talked about the gore. It was kind of a wild third act. A lot of twists and turns that I was not anticipating.
Almost a little too wild. I think.
Yeah.
I think it took one turn too many. First of all, the scene where it was like, well, actually, I trapped you all here. I saw that coming from a mile away. And I knew either she planned it or her father planned it.
Yeah.
And I also thought maybe her father was Giancarlo Esposito, but either way, it's obvious.
Yeah.
Obvious. But I think just like the constant, like, well, you're a vampire. You're actually not a vampire because I bit you whenever this happened. And there was like a lot of that. And then it was like, it was kind of strange. I will say when Dracula showed up, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And they got it unknown. They
sure.
shot it like it was gonna pan up and be a Leonardo DiCaprio, and I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is.
Yeah, but it worked.
Yeah.
Capping off the good for me, I'd say, like, again, I love the story. I love the way this movie was shot. There was some interesting camera work done that would help with tension in some scenes as well. You're running all over this house, like, just ones where you're, like, in the staircase below, pointing up to, and it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
The group dynamic. I thought the
So
group
good.
dynamic was fantastic.
So good.
You're following along as they're trying to figure out what's up with this girl, who's killing people. Is that guy, what was his name, Alvarez?
Wait, which character?
The main, what was his name, Frank? Like
Frank.
His fake name was Frank.
Oh, yeah, played by
Estevez-
Steve, can't remember his last name, Steve something.
But no, like...
Yeah, Frank, though, yeah.
Who was
cop.
the name of the guy that does the killing for Dracula?
Was his name Leonard? Pretty sure it was Leonard.
Whatever it was, like, they were pointing fingers at him, and, like, you have this group dynamic that's, like, up and down, like, do I trust you, do I not trust you, and, like, it just made the story...
Oh, I thought you were talking about Giancarlo Esposito's...
No.
My bad.
No, that was Lambert.
Yeah, Frank is the cop. The cop. That was
and he was being blamed by Abigail as being the hitman.
That I found really, really interesting. Though.
Yeah.
I actually like the way she was turning everybody against
That's
her.
what I mean, like, this group dynamic, like, one moment you trust, one moment you don't, at the end, like, it's just a wild ride, and this group dynamic really made this movie... It added to the fun and the suspense at the same time.
And also, even though I said that I'm like, I knew that it was going to be a trap or whatever, I still, like, they still actually caught me off guard because I thought they were going to do the, well, the later at night it gets, she turns.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be that, and then she's that way for the. I didn't know it was like a switch that she could flip on and off.
Yeah.
Once I realized that she's feigning the being scared and all that kind of stuff, I was like, okay, this is interesting though.
Yeah.
It made it worth it.
Yeah. Is there anything else you have for the good? I mean, like, I can go on and on. I thoroughly love this film.
Absolutely. I would definitely love to give another shout out to the guy who played Frank. It's Steve something. I can't remember his last name.
Yeah.
And then also Angus Cloud. Angus Cloud was hilarious.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Frank was also hilarious. Like those are onions. That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
When he says Sammy's played by Kevin Newton. Sammy, go get the garlic. Sammy comes back like 5 minutes. I got the garlic. Sammy, those are fucking onions. Like,
Sammy, those are fucking onions.
and he has like this accent, and it just adds to it.
Yeah,
this is a film. I know this probably would fall more in the final thoughts. This is a film that when it releases, I will be getting.
Yeah. I think I would like to as well. And also some of the writing wasn't great for me, but some of it was. And also they subverted my expectations a few times, like with what I just said, with the way she was flipping the switch. But also another way they flipped it is whenever Angus Cloud was like, yo, I'm good at reading people. You're this, you're that. And Melissa Maria's character is like, you got every single one of those wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was a pretty funny, because there's always that scene, where they go, well, you're this person, and they look down. But you do get that when Melissa Maria does it, but
I like that scene because, the whole concept was we can't find out more about each other, but that gave us a background of who these people were.
Exactly.
So we know this guy was a bodyguard. He's a brute, Kevin Durant's character. We know this guy was ex-military. He's the one standing in the window with the rifle, with the sniper.
Yeah.
We know Catherine Newton comes from a rich family, so she's probably the preppy girl.
Yeah.
And just she's an drug abuser, and it just added guys next cop. Like, it gave you okay, this is what these people are gonna do throughout the movie in a very kind of cool way. Yeah, I really like that scene as well.
I also love that because Abigail chose these people, she knew how to manipulate them.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, do you have a kid? All that also made it interesting. And I also I've always loved that concept in movies where they do we can't know each other's our actual names or whatever, because it does. This contributes to how this would be in real life, but you can even see it on screen. It gives those characters the freedom to be exactly who they are, in a way that with the dynamic with people they're around, it affects you.
Yeah, for sure.
With people that you love and you're close to, it changes you. But whenever you're just a random name, you can be whoever you want. Like
exactly.
Kevin Durant can just be a big dumbass, and it doesn't matter.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
but we can hop over to the meh. I feel like you have a little more here than me.
A little more. Like I said, the twist of you're trapped here, and that's not even meh, as in that's not something I like or whatever. It's just something that I wish I hadn't seen 1,000 times.
I didn't dislike that twist that Giancarlo Esposito was kind of the ringleader of this all, and Abigail was puppeteering him, but I don't know how I felt about Frank as a vampire at first.
Yes.
Once we got to the fighting in the library room, I was more on board with it. But at first, I was like, and then he kills, and I was like, ugh, okay, let's see where this goes before I knock it. So I guess I could put that in the meh, but it ended up working out for me.
Yeah.
So sure. I don't want to say that it ended up being a bad or a meh for me.
Sure.
At the same time,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a lot in the mad category. I don't have anything in the bad category.
There are just some things that kind of are a little questionable for me. Like, for one, I hate the fact that they all learn that, Abigail sent them there. They all know their real names, and they're all still going by Frank and whatever. I'm like, why?
I get that, but at the same time, if you're calling somebody a name all night and you find out their name, just now, it might not be the easiest to flip over. You know what I mean?
From a storytelling perspective, if changing the names on characters is only good, especially whenever you have a cast that you have to learn who's who, it's only going to confuse things more. But it does make for some awkward. I think that maybe the reveal should have been late. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just made things kind of awkward. And then also there are some character choices that I didn't totally understand. Like for one, Frank, there's half the time he was on the team, half the time he wasn't, which we've seen that before. But like some of the choices he made, it's like it makes no sense for you to go, oh fuck it, turn me into a vampire. When the whole night you've been fighting off getting bitten and becoming a vampire.
Yeah.
So like certain things like that kind of were just like, and also this is something I've never understood. What negates a vampire biting you and killing you from turning you into a vampire? Sometimes it kills you, sometimes you turn into a vampire. What the hell's the difference?
I think if they drain your blood, it kills you. Vampire lore is a movie-by-movie basis.
Yeah.
Also.
Oh, I've watched Twilight.
Because garlic did nothing to Abigail, but if you watch Lost Boys, the garlic bathtub killed one of the vampires. Yeah. So, like, it's a movie-by-movie basis. This one was mainly sunlight, wooden stake. Those were the big ones, draining the blood. So I guess being bitten by it turns you, in this film...
As long as you're just, like... they just kind of take a bite.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of venom pulse, and then you, like, back away.
And then once you die, they're no longer... Like, once the person that turns you into a vampire dies, you're no longer a vampire. Melissa Barrera, at the end of the movie, she was like, oh, am I a vampire? She was like, no, you're okay. He's dead.
That's right.
So, like, that's I guess, a little bit of lore that was different, like, that set this movie apart. But, like, I always like when, you know, it's easy to do... the basic stuff.
I like a twist.
Seeing what lore you can create with vampires is also cool at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I like a twist. Sexy vampires, Twilight, love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's certain things like that. And there's also like a scene where the ex-military man and Melissa Barrera share like a moment out of nowhere where she's like, I probably shouldn't come in. We got things to do. I'm like, this chemistry is going nowhere. Yeah. I feel nothing here. I don't know why you're doing this. These two haven't even talked.
Then 5 minutes later, he's...
Yeah, how does he die?
They split up, and then he goes to the room, and his neck gets bit.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Okay, yeah. But that was just like a moment that just when it happened, I was like, you could probably cut this out. Yeah. I like the scene where they're like, I don't trust any of them, like Alliance. That, I'm cool with. It was...
Yeah.
And then also there was a lot of dicking around with Angus Cloud and Catherine Newton. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would throw that in the mad. That scene where Angus Cloud scares her. Because I'm not saying that she did bad. I thought, like, her emotion was shown very well, but it was a little bit over the top. Yeah. The 8th time she said, get the hell out. Or
I know. Like, it was very drawn out. It was like, dude, just go.
Just get out. Like... Let us go to the next scene.
Yeah. And also, I couldn't tell. Like, sometimes they were flirting, and sometimes she was certainly not into it.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's how it happens, you know? But,
I guess that's true.
But, I don't have anything. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. Do you have anything to bad? Because I don't. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Start to finish, from the heist down to the final frame.
Yeah, I don't have anything in the bad either. I think it was... Like I said, and even the mez are probably more personal things than anything, you know, and I'm not against that. You know, just because a movie doesn't hit my touchstones doesn't mean that it's bad or mad. For sure. But, yeah, no, I have nothing in the bad. It was great.
All right, so we'll hop over to our final thoughts and ratings then. What do you want to leave off with Abigail, and what do you give it out of 10?
I would say all in all, it's been kind of a slow year. We're in the strike zone. And this is one that I really wasn't looking forward to until we watched the trailer together not that long ago, and I was like, no, I want to see that. Yeah. Like, in general, if you think it's just like a basic horror, you go in, you know, maybe you share a chuckle or two, you walk out, whatever. It was not a whatever. Like, it didn't stick in my brain like I just watched Oppenheimer, but it was like, it was 1,000% worth my time. And especially, I felt like sometimes I was the only guy laughing in there. Yeah. It's not true. It's just because my laugh is louder than yours by a lot. So it feels like that. But I felt no shame. Like, just great comedy. Yeah. Great comedy. There's, like, some good horror stuff. Nothing that'll scare you. But it's like, especially if you got, like, 13 and up teens or whatever, even, like, 11 and up, 12 and up, go take them to this. They'll have a fun time. It's a good entry. Like, and, there's nothing too sexualized or anything. It's a good entry horror film. So yeah. For sure. What are you giving it out of 10? Out of 10, I'm going to give it a very, very solid 7. Maybe even like a high 7, closer to an 8. Okay. I had a great time with this one. I had great fun. It was fun. Yeah. For me, I love the vampire movies that don't have comedy. Dracula's a fun one. It's classic. Last year, Last Voyage of the Demeter was a fun
like serious vampire
I
movie.
forgot about that movie. That movie's awesome.
Yeah, but I love the vampire comedy mixed trope that kind of is created in a lot of vampire movies.
Sure.
Lost Boys, Fright Night. You know, this is added to a list like that.
Sure.
Where it has this scary story, but there's that comic relief that fits throughout the entire film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have a really fun time with those movies. I do love vampires. Lost Boys is one of my favorites. I mean, I've got them hanging up here, but I'm going 9.
Yeah, that's
going
fair.
9.
That's fair. That's fair.
I really like this movie a lot. It's top 3 on the year for me so far, right there with Dune Part 2 and Late Night with the Devil. And like you said, you know, a slow start to the year. We're starting to pick up here in April. I mean, basically once Dune came out was when things started to pick up. We got Late Night with the Devil. I really like the new Ghostbusters. And then April, you know, I loved The First Omen. I loved Monkey Man, and I loved this film. Civil War was good. So we're starting to pick up. We're starting to pick up. We're going to start getting the summer, get some of those summer blockbusters. And then once summer's done, there's a lot of horror coming out this fall that I'm excited for too. So
Me too.
I'm just hoping that this, you know, continues to carry over.
Yeah, me too. I think it will. I think it'll be a good summer, and I think once fall comes, especially, you know, we got Joker 2, we got some horror films coming. Like, I think it's going to be
Terrifier 3, Smile 2.
I think the rest of the year. Oh my God, I'm so excited for Smile 2 and Terrifier 3.
Keeping on the page of vampires again, I said Abigail was a top 5 most anticipated film for me. I'd probably put it 3rd on the year coming into 2024.
Yep.
And number 1, Christmas Day. Nosferatu, man.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Another vampire
film.
film. Yeah. Another vampire film.
Absolutely.
So.
You ever notice that vampire films, honestly, they're like tonally, they're always in line with like the Predator movies, you know?
Yeah.
There's some comedy. It's mostly people being hunted. It's not like close your eyes because it's scary.
Yeah.
Like it's gory.
Yeah.
I just realized that. Yeah. And especially as time evolves, like it's just like a Predator movie.
And they're usually, like, most vampire movies, even the ones you don't love, you can at least have a good time with. Like Renfield. It was all right, but it was still a fun time.
You walk in, you have a good time, you get out of there, you never think about it again. I haven't.
Until I just mentioned it.
Yeah, correct.
But
correct.
no.
You got Nicolas Cage's Dracula. That genuinely was worth price of admission.
Oh, for sure. But no, Abigail at the end of the day was... It's one of the ones that'll be up there come the end of the year for me.
Sure, absolutely.
So... That'll do it for Abigail. Kory, thank you for coming on once again. I think
sir.
I think this is number 10.
I think this might be lucky number 10.
So, I think you're the first to hit double digits, my man.
Oh my God, I am so honored, and
it
it's
might
only
be
gonna
past
get worse
10.
from here.
We might be celebrating. It might be 11 or 12, but
whatever it said on the little banner thing, that's where we're at.
Yeah, but you've definitely filled in a lot for me, so I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you have to say about movies.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate you always inviting me here. When do I get my plaque? Is it coming in the mail yet?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to draw a little Kory on the mural.
That would be awesome. You know what? Fill them in the little
We'll
squares.
put a pocket on.
I think
Patrick Bateman's shirt and put you in the pocket.
I think you should fill in the little squares with all your guests.
With
The
all my
ones that
guests.
appear that most.
Yeah.
I should be right.
Once you hit like 20
Right
or
there.
15 or whatever.
Up
But
there.
again, thank you for coming on. Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
watching. If
Thank
you
you.
like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos. Hit the
Yes.
subscribe button or follow the social links down below. I appreciate anything you do for me. I appreciate you just watching, but thank you again, and we will talk to you all soon. Peace.